Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers. And today, taking a look at something that has been a long time coming. Because when I first started not doing these videos, but when I first started getting back into Transformers, which was like probably close to 3 years ago at this point, I was doing a search for just Takara stuff on Big Bad Toy Store. And I saw this really weird thing that was like an assortment of sushi pieces and like sushi related like dishes and whatnot, like actual like cup noodle type things and stuff like that. Anyway, it was like this assortment of sushi-related things, including pieces of sushi that turned into robots and vehicles for the robots, and it was so weird. And I kind of loved it, but there was one piece in particular that I was interested in, and didn't want to spend $75 to get an entire set of these weird pieces when I only wanted one of them. Saw that they had it on eBay, and held off for years. Then, around the holidays, I ended up with a little bit of extra cash because, you know, holidays. And I decided it was finally time. And so, today I bring to you Ikurasu, which I'm probably pronouncing terribly. I don't know what the official name of the series this thing is from is called, but I do know it is actually produced by Takara. So this is a Takara figure, and it is a piece of sushi. I think specifically this is actually a piece of maybe not sushi. No, this would be sushi because sashimi is the one that's like the rice patty, like the block of rice with like the little seaweed wrap on top. But anyway, I think I've actually had this before. If this is the one I'm thinking of, these are supposed to be salmon eggs, or roe, I think they call it. And if you ever have the opportunity to eat one of these, don't. Seriously, do not. These things are like, oh my god, I made the mistake of popping the whole thing in my mouth and trying to eat it. Each one of these little balls is like taking a sip of seawater. So if you could imagine just crunching down on all of these eggs at once, I felt like I was trying to swallow the ocean. It was terrible. So yes, no, don't eat one of these if you get the opportunity, or at the very least, pace yourself. But anyway, Ikurasu is a just big old chunk of sushi, and it's actually bigger than I expected. I thought this was going to be like a normal sized piece of sushi, but this thing is not. This thing is not small. It's actually about 2 to 3 times bigger than the actual piece of sushi that it's based on normally is, which is unexpected, honestly. I thought it was going to be just like regular size sushi, but no. And you can see there are some panel lines here, but overall they did a pretty good job of actually mimicking the seaweed texture that you get on like pieces of sushi like this, just all the way around. Again, if you ignore the panel lines. And these little egg bits on top, very nicely translucent. I mean, you can kind of see when you look at it from dead on, you can kind of see like where it all breaks up. But when you're looking at it from an angle, it all blends together pretty well. And honestly, I think the color and translucency on these little fake fish eggs, really impressive. Like they even molded it in a way so that you've got like the slightly darker bits on the inside of all that orange. It's pretty convincing in terms of just look. Just how sushi-ish it is. And then he also comes with these claw accessories, which we'll get into in a bit. Going to be doing things a little bit differently here. Again, I don't normally show the transformations, but I'm going to show the transformation for this guy because last time I checked, there have not been any videos on YouTube about this guy, which means I can't simply say, oh, there are other videos you can look up if you want to see the transformation. So I'm actually going to go through it. He compacts very nicely, actually. So let me navigate my arms around all the equipment here. So, yeah. Ikurasu as a chunk of sushi. Now, before we do the full transformation, he actually has a couple of extra modes, kind of, in the instructions. So if you reach under here, you can kind of pop this door down, pull that down. That creates a kind of wing. You do the same on this side. There you go. And then what you can do is you can take his claws, and there are these little holes on the underside there, and these pegs on the wings there. You can just line those up and push them on, and he becomes a sort of clawed sushi ship thing. I don't know. But that's not even the half of it. He has a Gerwalk mode, like an honest-to-goodness Gerwalk mode. So, in addition to pulling those flaps down, we're going to take care of the legs. So these you just pull down, and these just they tab in up here. So just pull that down, and as you pull it down, you kind of stretch it up, and it's double hinged here. So you've got the knee that bends out like that, and then the ankle that bends over like that, and then you just rotate that around to make the foot, and then you turn it. I am now realizing that I have his legs backwards, so we'll just turn it that way, and we'll flip his claws around super awkwardly. There we go. So do that on that side, spin this around on that side. This is my own fault for not getting it all lined up before. So other leg, same deal. Pop that down. And this one, for whatever reason, doesn't quite line up right. I don't know why, but just pop it down, accordion it out, and show it from this angle. You just rotate the foot. And then turn it, put it down, and here you have this Sushi Gerwalk mode. Just, it's so stupid I can't help but love it. Alright, so continuing on for robot mode, we're going to rotate these around so that they're pointing straight out, because this is actually how these claws store in robot mode. So, got that. Now here, this whole assembly actually pulls apart, and then you can kind of see his head now. These will go up, and these actually, his shoulders, get that out of the way, his shoulders kind of lock in place. If you push it up, it just kind of does a little soft kind of click, like, not a click, but like a, I think as Emgo puts it, a thoop. And you can rotate the waist, pull up the head, and then the arms actually accordion out here. So you just reach under and pull, and that will pop the arm out, and then you just bring it down the rest of the way. Do that on this side, and here we have Ikurasu in his robot ninja mode. And wow, this thing is so weird and stupid, and I freaking love it. It's so goofy. Oh man. He's got these like armor flaps on the sides here, like the hip skirts. He's got the giant sushi shoulders, which is just fantastic. The way that the head is done, this, I'm gonna try and fold this out of the way so you can kind of see, but like the eggs for the head actually kind of go back a little bit, almost like he's got hair that's being wind blown. Oh, it's incredible. Overall, detail-wise, he actually has, like, I don't know what it's called, but like the material that you kind of see with like a lot of ninja outfits with like the sort of grid-based, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But like the grid-based pattern you see on a lot of ninja clothing, especially on like the sleeves, totally has that molded in. I'm doing a really bad job of keeping this on camera. I'm sorry. Some nicely molded hands. My one gripe being that they just, it's the gorilla arms. He can just do this. He can't really, rotate his wrists, which is unfortunate. And even the legs actually have, you can see that same kind of molded grid pattern there, which is very nice. He has some nice robotic sort of panel lining in here, and I like that red jewel, whatever that's supposed to be. And on the back, not too much to write home about, but I do like how they kind of molded the back a little bit differently. Those almost look like thrusters of some kind. And pop these off so that we can see some of the other details here. And the skirts themselves have some sort of robotic detail in there. Now, I will say some of the stuff on here is stickers. And I normally don't do stickers, but these are stickers that came with the figure as opposed to, say, repro labels. So this is how you get the figure. So I did apply them myself, but they came with them. So like these purple bits on the feet, on both the insides and outsides, the yellow bits on the skirts, and the yellow bits on the sides of the claws were all stickers. But yeah, this guy is very neat. So anyway, back to the head. He looks like a pretty imposing little sushi ninja. I dig the little symbol on top there to make it almost look like a headband. There's some nice kind of panel lining just underneath the eyes. That's actually... Okay, just double checking. It is actually painted. That's impressive. Or maybe it's not painted, maybe it's the purple that's painted, but it's still impressive. And those yellow eyes actually pop underneath the black very nicely. And I like this gray bit for the mouthpiece that's sort of like not quite a gas mask. And then, of course, just looking at the figure overall, he is neat. I mean, I like the kind of breakup of black, gray, and purple with just a little bit of that orange at the top. I think it looks really good. And again, I really like that red jewel in the center. He's surprisingly neat for such a doofy overall concept for a figure. And I also really like these kind of bladed shoulder bits that they've got going here that make no actual sense other than just being aesthetic. Like they serve no purpose, they're not part of any transformation, but it's a neat detail. Now in terms of the claws, those I wanted to keep in the video for a couple of reasons. One, because no one really seems to be talking about this guy, and two, because honestly, proportionally speaking, he's got these giant shoulders, decent-sized legs, and these dinky little arms. But you give him his claws, which just slide into his hands like so. Like so. There we go. Slide into his hands. Do this one from this angle. Just slide in to his hands. And suddenly, it makes it look like his hands are a bit bigger and his arms are a bit longer, which I think actually looks a lot nicer in terms of just overall like the aesthetics of the nasty, don't want to mess with them robot ninja. Robot sushi ninja. And he is decently posable. I mean, you lose a lot of articulation in the shoulders because they don't like really move back at all. And they can only move up so far because of the, giantness. And they can't really move, they honestly can't move down. You have to pop that transformation joint if you want them to move down, which is okay, but really I just kind of wish that you could go back with them a little bit. And I wish that he had more articulation, in like actual articulation in the wrists, but overall, this guy is actually... He's surprisingly imposing for a robot that turns into a piece of sushi. I mean, I have to admit that. And I do think he looks much better with the big claws, because it just helps to kind of even out his arm proportions. Yeah, Ikurasu is just weird, and I kind of love him. He's weird, but in a conceptual way. Like, the actual look is surprisingly cool for something that's, turns into a piece of food. It's not enough to make me want to check out the other figures in the series, because this is still the only guy that I really like the look of, but this guy by himself is very cool. And because of the transformation in the legs, he's actually got some decent leg posability. It's just the arms and shoulders that suffer for it a little bit. But other than that, he is very cool. And then my only other gripe is really that I tried, I couldn't find any way to properly store these claws when he's in his sushi mode. I mean, you can store them on the sides here, like I showed before, but that's really all there is. Like, you can't actually fit them inside the sushi mode anywhere. You just kind of have to keep them off to the side, which it's disappointing. But I mean, I'm not going to be displaying him in sushi mode that often. So, I'll survive. But it is a little disappointing. Regardless, this thing is so dumb, it's freaking amazing. If you want to get your hands on him, your only way to get him right now is either search through eBay, which, he's not too expensive on eBay. You can get him with free shipping for like around $30, which is not bad. And again, much bigger than I was expecting. This guy is... I probably should have thought about this ahead of time to have a figure ready to go. Hang on a second. Well, go a little while without filming and suddenly it's amateur hour all over again. Anyway, here is Samus for that size comparison. You can see he's not small. He is like not quite as big as a typical deluxe right now, but he's not a tiny figure. So I mean, he's in my opinion, I'm sure, all things considered, you're probably paying a little bit more than is normal for this figure if you get him off of eBay, but I think, honestly, $30 is not a bad price for a Japanese import of a figure this size and uniqueness. Or you could get, I think the set's still available on Big Bad Toy Store. I'll include the link down below, but I think the set's still available, but the set's like $75, which, I mean... if you like the other things that come in the set, then it's a great deal. But if you only care about this guy, then it's kind of pointless in my opinion. Regardless, Ikurasu is really he's so interesting and unique and dumb, and I love him for all those qualities. I am super glad I was finally able to get my hands on this guy because he is just so interesting. I mean, he's a piece of sushi that turns into a robot ninja with claws. It's not much other... I can't sing any better praises than that, really. Anyway, that has been my look at Takara's Ikurasu from... I don't know. I'll have figured out the name and put it in the description at this point by the time you're watching this, but just going to call him Ikurasu. So that was my look at this guy. Thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those three would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.